Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today we're going to talk about my favorites and least favorite products from the month of February 2019. Holy moly. I have a couple of lifestyle favorites I'll talk about kind of towards the end if you are interested. But other than that, I've got a lot of drugstore products. I'm going to tell you right now, three of them are L'Oreal, and you guys are going to be like, she certainly is sponsored by L'Oreal. Nah, dog. They're just launching a lot of really good products, and so I've recently been diving into them. And I literally, as I was picking them, I'm like, Jessica, you can't do 3 products from L'Oreal. And I'm like, well, if I'm being honest with myself, those are 3 products that I couldn't put down. So I was like, I just have to mention them. Who cares? Let's get into it. So, didn't I already say let's get into it? It's gonna be one of those kinds of videos, guys. So I do have 3 products I didn't like. I'll put those more towards the end anyway. 3 products that I'm just like, did not like them at all. So let's do the drugstore ones first. The first one I'm wearing on my face right now is this L'Oreal blush stick. It's from their Infallible line, and they call it their long wear shaping stick, and I have it in the shade Sexy Flush. So it truly is a stick. I think they also have like perhaps foundation shades like this. I already forgot. I think I just talked about it in that video, but there's something about this shade that is just so natural if your skin tone is near mine. And I've applied it a million different ways, but I've learned that the easiest is just to apply it with the stick right to your face. I've been doing that the past couple of days since I got home from traveling. And actually, I traveled with this, and it was the only blush that I brought with me because I love it so much. I think it is so natural, so pretty. It's exactly what I want blush to look like. I feel like this is the look I'm always trying to go for with powder, but for whatever reason, this is actually doing it better. And it stays in place all day long, which really surprises me because I feel sometimes like cream products can be kind of hit or miss with their staying power, but this one I feel like is. So the next L'Oreal one is their Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. I did do a video with I think I did a wear test in that video, right? Yeah. So with this and the concealer and some other products, I will link that below if you want to see them in action a little bit more. But I will show you me putting this on my face right now. I just feel like it is a medium coverage foundation. It's comfortable to wear. I think the shade range is pretty decent. I wear the shade 405 if you're curious, and it's a really good shade match for me. And I just feel like it does make your skin look somewhat fresh. Now, if you look really close, can you tell I'm wearing foundation? Yes. Honestly, most foundations, you can tell you're wearing foundation. That's why a lot of times I go for BB creams, because it doesn't kind of catch the like peach fuzz and things like that on your face. However, this one does it a very slight amount, and it doesn't accentuate, like I have dryness on my nose, it doesn't accentuate that, and that's huge for me. So I think if you have a skin type that's normal to dry, you're gonna really like this. I am curious, if you have oily skin, how do you like this? I think some of you guys commented, and it was kind of a mixed bag on the last video, whether you liked it or not for oily skin. Some people, if I remember correctly, said if you have a really good oil control kind of a primer underneath, it still can look really beautiful. So something to keep in mind. And it does have a pump, which I also appreciate. Almost done with the L'Oreal train. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. They say it's more than a concealer. I wear it in the shade 340 Fawn. This is one of those giant doe foot kind of concealers that now everyone is coming out with. Honestly, I didn't think I would like it. I love it though, you guys. I'm surprised to hear myself even say that because the Shape Tape was kind of meh to me. Like, I could see why people liked it because it was full coverage. It stayed in place decently well, but it was not crease proof. I don't think that this one's crease proof either. I do feel like it's a self-setting concealer. You know that new one from Make It Forever? The idea of that is hilarious to me because I'm like, oh please, like you're gonna need to set it. While I do think this still creases, honestly, once I tap it in about twice while I'm getting ready, it doesn't sink into them anymore. You can still see my fine lines, but it's not, you know the difference between being able to see your fine lines and like it just constantly creasing where you have those deposits of concealer. This one doesn't do that after doing that a few times on myself, and I don't put powder on it. And I think that's part of the reason I like this so much is because at the end of the day, without powder, concealers just tend to look better on me even if they crease, because once I add powder, no matter how good the powder is, after 8-10 hours, it starts to look a little bit crepey, a little bit, you know, aging me just a little bit more. But I feel like when I don't have to set it, that's huge. And for this one, I typically don't need to set it. So I really, really like it. And it does have more of that full coverage. So that's huge as well if you do have dark circles to cover, etc. Obviously, that is the job of a concealer typically. So I do have a few more pricey items. But before I get into that, I wanted to throw this perfume in there. I picked this up on a whim at Target a few weeks ago. And again, I traveled with it. I just wanted a rollerball perfume that I really, really loved the smell of that I could just keep in my travel bag. Well, I've taken this out of my travel bag because I want to use it all of the time. It is from the brand Good Chemistry, and it's their Sugar Berry perfume. Now, they do have like full sizes of this, and if you go to Target in store, if they have it in your Target, you can smell all of them. So there are testers out, which is really nice. And then you could buy the rollerball or the like actual perfume. I think they have 1 or 2 cologne scents too that are supposed to be geared towards men. Although frankly, I smelled one of them and I was like, that smells really good. Anyway, this sugarberry one is very, very sickeningly sweet. So if you don't like super duper sugary sweet smells, you won't like this one, but if you do, you will, and I do. Do I want this every single day? No. But what's nice is, you know, I wore it on this last trip, and now I kind of associate this with that Disney trip. So I really like the smell. However, if you don't like sticky sweet smells, it's worth going and smelling all of them because they're reasonably priced, in my opinion, for a really good perfume, and it seems to linger pretty well. And they had a lot of other smells that were very different, and they all smelled so good. I was torn between this one and a couple of others, and of course now I can't remember the others, but I could see myself buying another from this brand because I really, really like it. Speaking of Disney, the mug I picked out this trip, we always buy a mug, is this one that was in the Haunted Mansion gift shop in Disney World, and it's just got like all of these like kind of cartoony scenes from Haunted Mansion. I really, really like this one. I was gonna use it just at Halloween time, and I was like, no, I wanna use it right now in February. So another favorite is a newer discovery for me. It's the Clarins SOS Primer, specifically the Lavender shade. So I recently tried this in a Clarins video. I just bought, you know, a handful of products. I just wanted to try from the brand. I'd never really tried the brand. And the idea behind this is it's supposed to brighten sallow skin. So, you know, kind of that dullness if you have that in your skin, which I feel like my skin on its own can tend to look a little gray. There's something about my skin I feel like this really does brighten. And when I did that video, I had you guys kind of look at my face, half of it with it on and half of it with it out. And like every single one of you guys were like, oh my gosh, like it actually makes a difference. I'm like, I know, like it just blew my mind because so many primers like this don't make a difference for me. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna work. I feel like they're gimmicky, and I was very surprised at how much I liked this. So something to keep in mind. I know they have a couple of other ones in this SOS line. This is the only one I've tried, and I really, really liked it. This next one I have on my, actually a lot on my face. This is the Buxom Divine Goddess little highlighting palette. So it comes with 3 shades. It is like cardboard packaging. I'm not a huge fan of the packaging, especially considering this is a more expensive product. So I thought, you know, they could maybe like have better packaging, but regardless of that, ooh, these are gorgeous highlighters. Like I probably won't use this darker Athena shade very often. I love Venus and Luna. Venus is the one I use the most. Today I tapped Venus onto like my brow bone. That's what you see on my brow bone. I tapped it a little bit above the brows, and I also tapped it with a sponge as my highlighter. You guys, this is the most beautiful cream highlighter that's not like in liquid form. I love liquid and cream highlighters. You guys probably figured that out about me. I love them so much more than powder. And this is one that it can look so beautiful and you can totally build it up, but it is so seamless with the skin. It is so crazy. I really need Buxom to sell this as a single so I can just have it in its own compact without having to depot it and put, you know, yes, I know I can do that. But that would be amazing because this, oh, Buxom, you did something so right. So right. By the way, I'm wearing a Buxom lippy on my lips. I didn't wear a lip liner. You guys know I'm just like all about gloss. This is just the shade Dolly. It's their lip plumping gloss, full on lip polish in the shade Dolly. It's like one of their classics, but it really is a pretty shade. Like I can't even deny it. And it's minty, and it definitely makes your lips tingle a bit. Okay. What's on my eyes is one singular thing. It's on my eyes, it's on my lower lash line, other than that highlight I just told you about. This is this Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize Cream Shadow in the shade Marie Antoinette. So last month, I don't know where to begin. This is like a deep love. It's a deep, deep love. I brought this with me to Disney, and honestly, most of the days that I was there, I had this and only this on my eyes. It's so pretty and it's so like dimensional. Like all I did, let me show you me applying this. So all I do is I, with a brush or my finger, tap it all over the lid, and then I get kind of a clean, fluffy brush, blend it up into the crease. It's so easy, you guys. You cannot screw it up. That's why I like it. It's so fast. It looks like I know what I'm doing, but I don't. And then I'll take really the same brush if I use one, and I will pack it on my lower lash line. I feel like this look looks like I used like 4 different shadows, and yet I used 1. I am definitely buying more shades of this because the formula blends like a dream. You have enough time to blend it, and yet once it sets, it does not budge. In my last month's favorite, I mentioned the Milk Makeup Eye Pigment. I love those eye pigments. They are incredible. This is even easier to work with, So I just adore it. I did a get ready with me in my hotel room. I can link that below as well. I had so much fun. It's fun to be on vacation and film in the weirdest of ways. So, and I, of course, used this in that as well. And so many of you guys were like, oh my gosh, you've got to try this shade and this shade. So I'm probably gonna buy 1 or 2 more shades and then just get rid of all my other cream shadows. But I am curious, if you have a drugstore favorite of cream eyeshadows, please let me know. Does Maybelline still make their color tattoos? Those are not as, like, this is almost a little bit more whipped. I remember the Maybelline color tattoos, I really liked them, but they weren't quite as easy to work with. They weren't quite as easy. They're not bad by any means, but do they still make them? I might need to get, because I know this looks similar to Bad to the Bronze. That's what I remember. Another favorite, a lot of you guys asked about this. I've talked about this brush before. You guys know I'm addicted to the Sephora Pro brushes. I can't stop buying them. They are all so freaking good. I've been buying like 1 at a time every time I place an order. They're literally amazing. They are pricier. They're not the priciest brush in the world, but they're not like cheap. But they're really, really great quality. So this is the Sephora Pro number 55. This is what I was using the other day when I was putting bronzer on. I don't have bronzer on today, but this is what I was using to tap bronzer into my skin in my e.l.f. video. So many people asked me, and I need to put it in that description box, but that's what this one is. So I will link it below. I love it. I've used it for powder foundation, loose powder, bronzer. I haven't used it for blush, but you totally could. It's just a nice, smaller sized powder brush. You know what I mean? It's not ginormous, but it's not super tiny. It's the perfect medium. All right, my unfavorites, and then we'll talk about some lifestyles. So one unfavorite is obvious, the Morphe foundation. I tried it in a video where I was trying the Morphe foundation and concealer. I didn't love either, but I really hated this on my skin. Way too drying, very uneven on my skin tone, and a lot of you guys said, well, you know, try it, because I put a lot of moisturizing layers underneath it and oil and stuff like that just because I knew how drying it was going to be. So I have tried it. I tried it again without all of those layers of oil and stuff to see if it broke apart less. It still broke apart in the same spots for me. For me, it's more about the dryness of my skin and where it's breaking apart. I did not like this. I could never, ever, ever recommend it. Honestly, even if you have oily skin, I just don't think it's flattering on skin. It's just, ugh. Another one, and this might have been an unfavorite last month, but I wanted to bring it up again quickly. This Josie Maran lip product. It's their Embrace It Honey. It's like a stinging lip balm kind of a thing, and it is like the worst feeling on your lips in the world. Ever, ever, ever. I keep bringing it up, and I've got to stop. I've got to move on. But I've never felt so much pain on my lips than I did with that stuff. Like, I'm wearing the Buxom lip gloss. That one tingles and stuff. I love that. The Josie Maran, never again. So this e.l.f. lip gloss I recently tried in that video. It's their lip plumping gloss. It's in the shade Sparkling Rosé, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be similar to like Dolly. It doesn't tingle and plump the same way the Buxom one does, but that's not that big of a deal to me. I thought it would look similar, but here's the thing. This creates this weird white ring around the inside of your lips within a minute of putting it on. That was very odd to me. Now, a lot of you guys said that you actually really like this product and you wear it like over lipstick and you don't notice the problem, so that might be the key. But for me, I'm like, you know what? There are good enough lip glosses out there in the drugstore that I don't need to like this one. You know what I mean? So like, I really like the Rimmel Stay Glossy lip glosses. I think that is a great formula in the drugstore. It's one of my favorites. If you want to splurge and get a $17 lip gloss, I love the Dose of Colors lip glosses. Those are my favorite gloss of all time. So another lifestyle favorite, I'm treating that Perfume as a lifestyle favorite, this is a weird one. Stay with me. These freaking pens. Now, I was a teacher. If you didn't know, I did decide to resign from my job and stay at home. I know I mentioned that in a video, but a lot of you guys still didn't know. You've been asking. I am resigning for now. Now, could I see myself going back to teaching in 4 or 5 years? Absolutely. But for now, I'm like, you know what? I can do YouTube as a full-time job, and I have Gigi. Why not focus my energies there while I have a YouTube channel that is growing, and I love doing it anyway. But we do have to have help around the house. Where am I going with this story? We do have help. We have my dad and Tyler's mom come over and help watch her a few times a week so that we can both work, because we both work from home. And it was proving to be that I could not get any filming done or any editing. It takes time. Anyway, long story short, it's amazing we have help. Where am I going with this? Well, how does this connect to pens, Jessica? So I've been doing a lot more planner work, trying to plan out like, okay, my content calendar, and I like to write things down. So I've been looking for really good pens. Now I've mentioned in another video, really juicy, fat writing pens. And so there's this certain, I think it's Bic. Either way, I will link my favorite fat, juicy rollerball pens. But I do have an appreciation for different colored pens that are kind of like the fine tip. But I'm very picky. Like a lot of people like those Papermate Flare pens. I actually don't really like them. I have a few, but I don't like the way they feel when I write with them. These are what I prefer when it comes to like that kind of a felt tip pen. So these are from the brand, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, Tao Tree. And they're literally like $5 on Amazon. And if you didn't know, I do have an Amazon, not a wish list, I do have an Amazon storefront, which means I have a link down below you can click on, and it takes you to all of these lists I have curated on Amazon of my favorite items I've bought, and like the tried and true favorites that I bought from Amazon. I've got stuff for the kitchen, cooking, pots, pans, cookbooks. I've got some of my favorite skincare items on there, my favorite clothing items I bought on there that are like unbelievable quality. I also have different things like this. So I'll make sure these are linked down below, and then also I'll have my Amazon storefront link if you're curious. But these are incredible and they are so cheap. I'm pretty sure this is a brand that I heard of from someone else online, and they're like bullet journal nerds. And I've started a bullet journal. It's okay. Like I am not a bullet journaler, but I appreciate it. And I do kind of do lists like that. These pens are incredible. They also, I need to get another pack because this is only 10. They have ones that are like 20, 30 packs, and they're like $9. And these are incredible pens. So, okay, I'll shut up. But that's all. I had to mention them because I am deeply obsessed with them. So you'll notice I didn't mention any skincare. I'm working on quite a few skincare videos over the next month or two. So I'm kind of saving these items that I have in my mind for those videos instead of incorporating them in my monthly favorites this month. So just FYI, that's really the reason I didn't mention any in here. But I do have a lot of skincare favorites that are so good. Oh, I read the book Girl Wash Your Face. I do recommend that one. That one I really do like. Now, she is a Christian writer, so she does, and I didn't know it. You start the book not really knowing that. So she does kind of splash that in throughout. If you know that's gonna bother you, then you might not like the book, but I really enjoyed what she had to say. I didn't agree with absolutely everything she said, but there was a lot of good pointers just about basically lies that she believed about life or about herself that she's realized as she's gotten older that aren't necessarily true, you know what I mean? And whew, she's gone through some serious trauma in her life. So that really kind of opened my eyes to how lucky I am in my own life. And she's actually a blogger, like a really successful like social media blogger, all of that today. So it was interesting hearing someone else's viewpoint as well. So I will link that below. I really liked that book a lot. I read it on my Kindle. And I listened to some of it on Audible. No, not sponsored by Audible. That is all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll stick around and check out some of my other videos that I mentioned that I put up recently that I do have linked below. And I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.